This is the Jewish cemetery in Warsaw. The broken gravestones that have been replaced and set into this wall that were damaged. Here's another section of wall with the close-ups of the broken gravestones.
And with the kid.
Stay close to the camera, Nate.
He didn't hear you. He wants you to stay close to him because he wants you. Okay. He wants to hear what you're saying.
Okay. You see down there the man with the child. That's a guy who was a professor. He was running for kids without fathers. You know and he wrote a lot of books. And the Germans wanted to spare it from the United States. The children came and put up something for them. Here's the names who put up the stones for them. Here. Das ist speziell the signs speak for themselves. It's in English. So everybody can read it.
Same as
Yeah.
over here.
Yeah.
From Lamasha, 20 grandchildren. Hannah had 11, only one survived.
Yeah.
Check out of 30, no, 20 grandchildren and 11, one
3
survived.
survivors out of 57.
Yeah.
You could shoot it right in Finmai.
This is the Jewish cemetery, more of the Jewish cemetery in Warsaw. Very expansive. 400,000 Warsaw Jews are buried here, and surprisingly enough, the Nazis did not destroy this during their reign of terror. The cemetery is horrendously overgrown in places. All these old stones have deteriorated. The writing on the stones is no longer legible. And this is contrasted by brand new stones placed immediately beside by North Americans, I assume, or Europeans. Who are leaving stones in memory. Although these people are complete strangers, I share a bond with them in that we both lost our families. Here lies the history of an entire people of Polish ancestry who have all died, but along with them, and all their families who died in the camps, died the whole culture of the Polish Jewish people died along with all of these people. Row upon row upon row of stones, as far as the eye can see.
Yeah.
And now
were put up by the people from all over Denver.
we're in a much newer area of the cemetery where the small remaining population of Warsaw's Jews are buried.
Wherever it was that they walked right through, here it's all grown.
1991, 1979. These are people who survived the Holocaust.
Here, remember all of the Jewish soldiers who served in Polish armies, yeah.
Lots of them.
That's a new one. They made it
Yeah.
special. Excuse me.
Sure, it's a memorial.
That's probably the same thing from the panelists.
Yeah.
Adam Beckerman, at
Yeah,
least
that
you got the
mature.
name. It's
Sure.
Yeah. See, oh, you see, Nathan, it's been there 12 years already, and he's never been
Pamięci
back
ojca.
since. He's never been back to
But
see.
so he's never been.
Yeah.
Was geen, was geen student.
We're the only
This is a vast mass grave marked by large marble slabs all the way around. It's not clear to me whether these are victims of the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising or just how they met their fate. But the United Jewish Appeal has marked this as a mass grave of some significance, I don't know what. Evidently this area is a memorial to the victims of the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising in 1941 to 43.
This is just now the march that they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, both of these stones were just laid in the last couple of months.
Oh, this is what.
This is the memorial to the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising. This is the first of the monuments to the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising along the memorial route that we'll be proceeding along. Okay, go ahead.
Born 1919,
From the Jewish ghetto,
1943.
1943.
Mordechai Anilowitz.
Yep.
1920.
He was the boss from the
Warsaw Ghetto
Warsaw
Uprising.
Ghetto Uprising.
This is the bunker at Mila 18 that the Warsaw Ghetto fighters headquartered in and ultimately committed suicide rather than turn themselves in to the Nazis. There was a building built over top of the site, which has since been demolished, obviously. We're up close now with the monument to the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising. This is the sole remaining Jewish place of worship in Warsaw, the only synagogue left standing. This is the little administration building in front. The rest of the synagogues were all destroyed during the Nazi years. There is still a service held here every day, and we'll be attending services here tomorrow. As you look more closely at the walls, it becomes evident that was a swastika that was obliterated. There are several places on the outside of the synagogue that show that graffiti has been painted here recently and painted over. So anti-Semitism is definitely not dead in Poland. The only reason that this building was spared destruction like all the other synagogues was because the Nazis were using this as a stable for their horses while they were occupying Warsaw. Here are several of the original buildings that remain. 94% of Warsaw was destroyed by the Nazis, and only 6% of the original buildings remain, and here are two of them, right in the Jewish area, across the street from the synagogue and the Jewish theater. This is the Opera House and Theater here in Warsaw. around this giant central square. And the Hotel Intercontinental at the other end of the square.
No, it was Schleib's, where they used to live. They had that little store here.
And they lived above the store?
They lived above the store, correct.
In the back of the store, not the back. The back.
That's correct.
So that was the central pump for the whole town.
Yes.
That's where everybody got their water.
No, from this section was other pumps. The farmers had their own water from a well.
Right. Nathan Szafran and Daniel Szafran lived right in this field.
A two-story.
Uh-huh.
Because it went...
Was this building here?
This building where this stand, it's not that building. There was another building, Daniel Millich's uncle.
Mm-hmm.
An uncle of mine was living right here, the next house. The third house was your mother.
To the left?
To the left. Come on, you walk down there and I'll show you.
Okay.
Was your mother living? All the way down
So the house was up near the road
there.
here?
Right the road there, the sidewalk and down the road.
In between these two buildings here?
In every house between you had just a thoroughfare to go down with the wagon.
And the road was...
The same road, except it was...
Was it a dirt?
No dirt, no, there were stones.
Cobblestones.
Cobblestones,
yeah.
Before the river used to go zigzag. Now they straightened it all out. All out.
So there was separate people living down below?
Yeah, and here they used to live, your parents used to live right up here.
You see the foundations?
And Ma's, that's the foundation for Ma's house?
No, that's not foundations. No. That is made afterwards.
Okay, but their property went right to the river?
No, not to the... But the river was a little closer...
Closer to the house?
Closer to the
river
house.
was you walk out and you were at the river.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
And you can talk and say whatever you want, and I'm just filming you. Point wherever you want it.
Full of public buildings. Yeah, well, and here, right next to the house, used to live a man from your
Jean, your mother's
Dorothy's aunt.
Dorothy's aunt.
Dorothy's aunt was living right up here too.
To the left of...
Right there, the same thing. Dorothy's aunt.
I don't remember.
That's right.
Lived in this old wooden house here.
In the other house down there.
Okay, this old wooden house
This
is
is still the old type house.
the original. This is what
The original.
this is what my mother's house looked like
Before the war.
before the war.
You see here, you see how it looks? And that's the way it was looking here. Look at here and down. See, it used to go like this here. This is still old shacks.
left this state.
This is aansluiting.
So how much am I away?
So right here was where Ma's uncle.
Yitzhak Vey. Uncle Yitzhak Vey.
Hi, Nate.
Hi.
Hi, Dad.
Hi. A little, but the 4 houses down there was the municipality.
So this whole street was all Jewish homes, all the way down.
Maybe I shouldn't tell you this.
It's okay. It doesn't matter what it is.
Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe that is certain things. Maybe I shouldn't tell you. But I can recall it like it was today, when Shandel's sister was getting married.
Which sister?
Hannah. That was the oldest.
Yeah.
She wasn't the oldest, but she was after Shandel, after your mother, and the people there from another city. At that time, they didn't think that it was parity. Maybe they thought they should have more money or something.
The dowry should be bigger.
There was no dowry. And he was a good-looking man. And their parents tried to break it all up.
The groom's parents tried to break it up.
Yes, they tried to break it up. You know, in a small shtetl, even when I was 10 years old, you hear a lot of things. In that time, there was not even money for the wedding,
Yeah.
to prepare the wedding. So they came to my father. We didn't have it either. So since we have the land, my father went to the mill, and he promised him the grain from the
field.
So he got, I think, about 25 zlotys, 30 zlotys or something at that time. That was enough money to make a...
A chasana?
That's right.
30 zlotys was enough to make a chasana.
You used to go out, they bought 4 goose. They prepared it themselves in the house.
Yeah.
And they were invited maybe 30 people, you know, relatives and a few of their friends. And everything was done, all the work was done in the house.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they made
They cooked everything themselves. They didn't have a caterer.
No, what are you talking, a caterer? So, and the funniest part of it is, later on they said, where's the money come? And they know it. My mother didn't know anything about it. Nobody knew, except my father went down there, and he said it's a mitzvah for something like this. And that's what it was. And that was the wedding, and then they lived in the next shtetl.
In Glavna.
No, it's Gersh.
In Zgersh, okay.
It's Gersh. You see how close we were all.
Everybody lived right together.
Oh, okay. How close everybody was. If somebody needs something, you just.
Where was her Schleib?
Her Schleib was living there. There was not in our circles.
Okay.
He was a little bit farther because he belonged to a different group. He was religious.
Ah.
Her Schleib's parents were very religious.
Uh-huh.
And they had a little store, like what you would call it, for buttons, you know, a little.
For the tailor industry.
No, for the tailor
Threads,
industry,
buttons.
for school supplies,
Uh-huh.
a tiny little variety store.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Okay, here was like a stall, like there was 10 stores on this side and 10 stores on the other side. Between those stores was about 10 butchers, Jewish butchers. And everybody made a living out of it.
Now, right across the street from where you and my mother lived.
Yes, right here.
So right here was where
starting down there, that house down there.
the second house
At the other end of the fence.
at the other end of the fence was where the ghetto
There
started.
was a fence.
So once they moved everybody, you had to move from down the street here.
Jewish people were all over the city, and then they put them all in that one little street.
And it was how big? 1 block?
1 block. We'll walk down all the way down there.
Okay. This was an original building, and this is where the ghetto started. The very
Yes,
first of the
yeah.
ghetto.
You can see the difference in the brick.
Yeah.
There was a window.
Right there, yeah, I see it right here.
You see,
Yeah.
that was a window.
Yeah.
Over here, there were Germans living.
Next door.
And we opened the windows and we got stuff in there, smuggled in
From the Germans next
from
door.
the Germans next door.
So there wasn't a wall.
We bought it. There was no wall. That was the
Just a fence.
fence here. That was the fence right here.
And what was
Up
my
from
father
here,
saying?
here
This
was
was
the
the
fence.
this was the way through
That was
to the.
another street. That was outside the ghetto.
Ah, okay.
And then somebody put, how would you say it? Somebody found out that we're getting in stuff, food through the
From the Germans next door.
through here, and that's why they closed up the window.
So they bricked it in.
They bricked it in.
Uh-huh. This is an example of what the housing used to look like back before the war. The wooden houses. Evidently the roofs were often a lot steeper than this. This is not a house of any significance. It's just an example of the older style that still exists.
See, when you said the Helinsky who lived down there, that he could have walked in from this side of the street to the other side of the street.
Right. And Dad's off searching for his house, or the place where his house stood. You don't think his house is still standing, do you, Nate?
No, nothing is standing.
Nothing. Okay.
And I remember an uncle of his, he used to live farther up here somewhere, up some sidewalk, all the way up here.
Ja to pamiętam, bo ja tu mieszkałam i jak Orliński mieszkał, pan pamięta, gdzie Orliński? Na Ogrodowej tam. No to ja tu latałam tak. Przecież też byłam w 39
Już tyle lat, już tyle lat. Hello, hello.
So this was the house, Dad.
This is the house.
This
yeah.
is the house.
This is the house. This is the 2 rooms.
So after considerable debate and discussion, it appears that this was the house that Dad and Moisha grew up in. Dad is talking with some of the present residents who are confirming who the neighbors were and so forth. At first he wasn't sure. He said it looked like it was, and now we know it is. So this is Dad's house from the outside, from the front, and it's been fixed up so he didn't recognize it initially, but it's still standing, it's still here.
This was your house?
I oni chcieli teraz przywrócić, ale Klemens Poszelski to nie ma innych. Nie, Klemens chciał. Klemens chciał, żeby przywrócili, ale któryś się odezwał, że nie ma innych.
Podwórko pan wejdzie, zrobi to.
This little building sits behind the house that they lived in, and this is where they did the work with the leather, the tanning work. That was my grandfather's trade, was a tanner. The woman on the right is the woman who lives in the unit that my father and his family occupied.
A to tylko wtynkowane było, ale to nie było nowe robione. To jest stare wszystko, tylko że tynk był położony.
Powiedz, że ja mieszkam na dole u
Chciała pani
Szendra.
kupić.
Gdzie u Sandra?
No, rozumiem, co ty
Ja
mówisz?
rozumiem.
No,
No.
Na którym ulicy to?
no. Na Kościuszki, u Szendra w oficynie.
This was an understanding that so given the skibele.
Piwnicy.
Nie,
Tylko, że słyszałam, że pies szczeka, to mówię.
No.
Do widzenia.
Dziękuję.
Kościuszki tam,
Nie, ulica Kościuszka. Następna.
Tak.
u Szendra.
I take pictures.
That's right. He's taking pictures for a reason.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, dziękuję. Now you catch down, huh, Sunday?
Hey, wo ist abgeklebt, abgeklebt.
This is the house. This is the house. This is the house. You see here, Sheldon.
Yeah,
Here we made a shortcut. We used to go through the fence that was open here.
yeah.
There was never a fence. We used to cut through here. We went to school.
Now he's
Which house, Nate?
This house, this shortcut.
This one right here.
No, down there, that little house.
The little house, okay.
Little house is the shortcut. All the
Okay.
way up to that end down there.
Okay.
You think Kaltzman?
Şimdi ye.
Holtz. The ones who do the one down there, the läuft Saccharin. Die ganze
This was the school over here, this big building. And this was the jail.
That was the jail in the back.
This big building right here, right?
This is the
Right,
school.
This is the school, yeah.
See what school says?
Yeah.
I didn't hear.
It looks like a church now.
No, it's not a church. It's
What?
still,
It's still a school?
yeah, no, it's an office. They changed the school to a different city. 18.
We're in the magistrate's office in Strykow, and we were looking for Dad's birth certificate, which he never did find. And after a little bit of searching, this is it. That's your father, Abram.
Let me tell you.
Yeah, but when did they say?
Nie wiem, czy to można.
This is the registry from the magistrate's office, and there are 4 Balbermans born in 1918. Sheva was Dad's twin, and this was a cousin, Sura Leha. This is just as we're walking down the street here in Warsaw, and the anti-Semitic graffiti still prevalent. Even though there's only 5,000 Jews in Poland, they're still targeting them. This is a palace, the name of which I cannot even hope to pronounce, near the old city of Warsaw. Quite a beautiful structure, I think. This is the old city of Warsaw, reconstructed after the war, rebuilt in the style and the exact location that everything was in pre-war. Beautiful architecture.
Writing on it? There's writing, but I cannot make out anything. The same way, that's how that of the says.
Yeah. The detail is incredible. The workmanship in some of the buildings is quite extraordinary. The artwork to restore it to the style that it had been previously. The old square in the old town of Warsaw.
Kids are having fun.
Dawaj! Nie, trzeba dawaj! Wolniej na
Mówiłam, że Piotrek nie ma wyjścia z domu. Jak uciekł. Byłam, pytałam się o stara. Proszę, pytałam. I tak naprawdę nie wychodzi. Zobaczę, nie polecę. Nie wiem, gdzie on jest. Poważnie.
This is the wall of the old city and what appears to be the main gates here. So who else do you recognize in the picture there?
I recognized everyone.
You can name all 40.
Not by the name now. The faces are just recognizable as ever.
Gershon was how old compared to you?
Gershon, he came after Sheldon. He would have been, how would you say, about 74.
If he was alive
if he
today.
was alive.
74, come on.
He was younger than Ma. Ma's 78.
That's right. I know what I'm talking.
Yeah.
Sure. And you see how I go? I know how old I am. Then I go.
And he was older than you.
He could have been 4 or 5 years older than me.
Well, I think we have his birth date over there, Shirley. Do you have the papers for Gershon?
This is
The papers for
Marshall.
Gershon.
Dus
His
is
birthday will be on
Ik
there.
ben hier gegaan in de school. In Erik had de Lando. Je denkt? Je denkt niet. As a matter of fact, Erik had de Lando Barins. Op mijn hoofd. Dus ik geweest zien van daar naartoe. Zo. Ik was bij de... Nee, ja, en dus is en dus ik geweest naar waar het zweite huis dort van Aschuren.
Ja, neem ze dat tegen.
Ja, je ziet, aber het zweite huis van Aschuren geweest. Nou, dus ik weet de vrouw zijn.
No, we don't have Gershon's birth date on this testimony.
No, you wouldn't have any birthday.
Dus is Jacob.
She didn't remember exactly the
Nate,
birthday.
there's a better picture of Gershon right there. A little bit enlarged.
Yeah, same,
see? Yeah.
the same faces. As a matter of fact, he played soccer.
But he was in the choir.
Dad, will you please bring a
Yeah,
chair over here and
in
sit
de
beside
in
Nate?
de Roegel.
That's right. That's why I put the chair there.
In
Yeah.
his room.
That's right. In de Roegel. That's right.
Is that back me up?
No, I'm just trying to.
Ik ga niet van die gebruikt pulpitten. In Daan zwei cousines zijn in vette Zudik ik ver vette Daan.
Yeah.
In Daan zwei Töchter zijn of de die weiß nicht.
No, funny.
Scheindel hat mir gesagt, was ich wohl nicht gekannt, Scheindel hat mir gesagt.
Now, the people in that picture that I know are Beryl,
Yes.
my mother,
And that's all.
and that's all. There were 3 who survived. Shloima.
He was in Paris.
He was in Paris.
Right, and he passed away
Not
like
long
10.
ago.
Oh, I thought it was a long time ago.
No,
Just
no,
just
not
recently.
long ago.
When you went to Paris, Nate, did you used to visit with him?
No, not with Schleimer, no. I saw another stick of a courier, heb ik gezien.
Mm-hmm.
De wijs werd me nog omhoog gezien, couriers breeder heb ik gezien in Paris at one time.
Voor je vrienden moest je ietsje.
No, nee, nicht dat wie hat der geheißen? Nicht,
Dan zijn er 2 vrienden.
wer ist sie gewesen?
Ietsje misses. Ietsje.
Een courier en nog weer zijn breeder, wie hat der geheißen? Nicht der älteste, der andere.
Ietsje.
Ich hatte
Ietsje misses. Nou, dat is een Jasselbadje, Balberman,
Ja, Jassen Batschen, okay. Ich hab noch, wait a minute, Jassen Batschen, ist die der auch gewesen dort bei, nicht wahr von die,
Ja, niet wat van
dat hat gehandelt mit der Pferd?
Ik had dat hele noemen.
Een Pferd? Okay.
Dat is gehandeld met gereden. Ik had het hele noemen.
Okay, right, ja.
En wie het eigenlijk geheißen?
Hij is ook geweest.
Iets geweest zien.
Iets geweest. Eigenlijk gewoon meer in die spaat van de fabriek.
Wie de guys?
This
one. At the market.
Yeah.
Opposite the sea.
Ja, dit is het frozen gegaan geweest. Zo tussen Brieder, Schwester en Brieder. Ja, wees de kijk goed. Zo doet geweest naar een Ziedel is het geweest.
Ziedel, ja, een stuk doen. Ziedel, ja, Ziedel, ja.
Ja, mis doe ze aan.
Doen ze.
Dat is een Ziedel, dat is een Ziedel. Nou, dat is een Ziedel.
Dat is een Ziedel.
Dat is een Ziedel, ja?
Ja. Niet zoals jetzt, er geweest een demo.
Ja, maar.
Okay, I would like to have the picture.
Dat geweest de Brieder van Zaai.
I would like you to show me who these people are who you're talking about, please.
Yeah, this is Ziedel.
Okay, now I need you to come up close to the camera, Dad, and point to the person who it is.
That was Schedel's cousin, Ma's cousin, Ziedel.
Give me the paper. I can't see it. Okay. And in the front row, will you point to
On
him,
the bottom,
please?
on the front.
Point to him.
Yeah.
That's Zindel.
Yeah,
And he was
a cousin.
a cousin of Ma's.
Yeah.
Okay, and who else have we talked about so far?
A courier, he's not from
All of
this, not from
them.
not
On
from
the
the
face,
school.
I recognized everyone.
But we talked about somebody who was right next to Ma in the picture. Who was that?
Everyone.
Jassel Butchen.
Okay.
Jassel Butchen. He's just.
So he's on Ma's right.
Yeah, on Ma's right, on Ma's left.
Yussel Butchin.
On Ma's left.
Okay. No, well, left as you're looking at it, but right as they're standing there. Okay. Who else have we talked about?
This is a cousin, but why is he heist? Nee, weiß nicht.
Okay.
This is his.
Dad.
This is a Ma's brother,
And his name was?
Avram Yitzchak.
Okay, we've got him in the testimony, so we
Yeah.
know that. Okay.
This is Shimala, a cousin of Ma's.
In the army hat or next to
No,
it?
the next,
Okay.
this next one. This
Yeah,
one, this,
yeah.
There's the face.
Yeah.
This is a cousin. This is Bill.
Where's Beryl?
No, no, but listen, Bill, this is Shlomo. Bill, I cannot see.
Oh, yeah,
Bill is
Shlomo's
here.
right behind Ma.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Shlomo, Bill.
And this picture was taken when?
In
Take the...
1939.
Yeah, for what occasion?
Mother's sister's wedding.
And her name was?
Hannah, but she's not here.
She's not in the picture.
No.
She's the only one who's not in the picture.
She's the only one that's not in the picture. She
Huh.
ran away or something. Who knows? I don't remember. I cannot tell. A cousin Zindel.
Say it again, please.
A cousin Zindel.
And he's sort of in the back there.
Yeah, right there at the very
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, okay.
And there is a cousin. Right there.
Well, they're all cousins, right?
Yeah.
Everybody except for her
The
immediate
names,
family was
the
all cousins.
names I don't. Who can remember 50 years? I know guys.
Sheldon, do you know why I remember Zindel better?
No.
Because he was just a few years older than me. And the other brothers, they were too old, so I didn't know him as much.
Uh-huh.
That's why I can better recall.
So now we're going to look at the testimony that's going to Yad Vashem on each person and get a record of each. This is Roisa Cutis. Her maiden name was Hecht, and this was Ma's mother.
Yep.
And that's really all we know.
Yep.
She was a storekeeper.
Zienummer geweest, voor Perl.
Caleb.
No.
Okay, this is Ma's father, Yaakov Shlomo. And his mother's name was Nissel,
The Bubu initial, yeah.
yeah, and the father's name was Shmuel. Do you remember them, Nate?
Eure Schmiel in eure initial.
No, I would have to see.
No, they're not here.
Face,
They're not in the picture.
The number doesn't to me, dat moet doen is doen. Nog space.
It's on the stool.
Yeah, they were the-
like it would be yesterday.
They were
I
already
remember.
dead in 1939, so they aren't in that
They're not
picture.
in the picture.
Okay. And this was Ma's oldest brother, Avram Yitzchak.
Yep.
And he would have been how old? It says he was born in 1914 or 1915,
Yeah,
Nate.
something like- yeah,
Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
15,
He would have been 4 years older than my mother?
Yeah, something like that.
about 4 years older, correct.
Okay, and why would he be in a uniform here? Was he in
He
the
was in the
army?
army.
He was in the army.
He was in the army in
Polish
39.
Army.
So when the Nazis invaded, he was part of the 100,000 Jews who were fighting the Nazi invasion of Poland for the Polish army. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay. And he survived his military service only to perish in the camps.
correct.
So the next in line was Hannah,
That's Hannah.
Ma's oldest sister.
But we got no picture.
And it was her wedding at which this picture was taken, but she was away, maybe honeymooning, who knows? And so we don't have any photographic evidence of her. But she was what, a couple of years older than my mother?
Yeah, it would have been a couple of years older.
So she may be 1916. She was born after Avram Yitzchak.
Yes, definitely is.
Okay. So my mother was the next in order. She was the next oldest. And of course, because she's alive, we have lots of pictures and everything else, and that's why I'm here. Because if she wasn't here, I wouldn't be here.
That's right.
Okay, next in line was Gershon. And Nate, do you have any idea when he was born? We don't have any testimony on that here.
He was born, what do you think? He was born in Strykow.
No, what year?
What year, I can tell you exactly. He must have been about 4 years older than me.
So he's
So what-
maybe,
He must have been 21 or 22nd.
1920 or 21,
No,
22.
1921, about 1921 or 1922 even,
Okay, yeah. He was next in line after my mother.
yes.
In Ednoe Kersen is where?
Masha,
Through Masha? Okay, there's
it was
Masha.
Masha.
There's Masha, yeah.
She,
Okay, next in age was Masha,
Masha.
and she was your age, Nate?
She might have been a year older.
Might have been a year older, so that would have meant she was born in
She would have been
24,
1924.
1924. And you went to school with her?
Went to school with her.
Same class or 1 year older? Or?
1 year old. She was one father. I went with Ruchel.
There's Ruchel.
The next. Ruchel, that's right.
Okay, so
There's Ruchel. Next.
next in age was Ruchela. And Ruchela, any idea when she was born?
When she could have been born 1926.
It's only guessing.
Yeah, she was a couple of years younger still. Okay. And so would she be like sort of your brother's age, like Dan's age?
Son Daniel, yeah, something like that.
Okay.
En nog heel Shire.
Nog de Shire geweest.
He was the youngest.
Shire geweest in 1950 een stukje, waarin St. Keller.
Yeah, but when is he geboren geworden?
Well, what we have here is that he was 6 years old. He was approximately 6 years old in 1939, so that meant he was born in roughly 33.
He was born, he was put as a good mom in 27, it's a Shamshir, it's a non, it's 20. He must have been born 1929 or 30.
No, this not according to what my mother said was that he was 6
she
years
didn't-
old.
She didn't remember anymore.
Yeah, maybe not.
I'm going according to me and my brothers. That's
She
what I
didn't
get a
remember
better
any.
picture.
Well, also from his age in this picture, he doesn't appear to be.
Sheldon, if he was younger, he wouldn't have come to Strykow with a pack to bring supplies. Now you get
They
it,
were
you get it
smuggling.
now.
They were smuggling.
Fin governor.
Yeah, I'm sure.
During
During the
the
occupation.
during the occupation, he was going back and forth at night to Glovno, which was across the border in the Russian-controlled,
Third Reich.
okay.
The Polish.
in the Polish-controlled instead of in the Third Reich-controlled area.
Correct.
Correct, yeah, that's
Okay.
correct. Did you see
At the ages, because I compare him with my brothers.
Yeah.
The same height, the same thing, the same age.
Dad, you're in the camera, please.
I don't know, I don't see that, I don't know.
With her clothes before, that's why we were more.
That's why you can remember the ages.
You saw what I
He had two
meant?
younger brothers also, remember?
Because you live
So-
basically next door.
Next,
One
basically next.
one house in between you and my mother.
In the
Yeah.
houses for just enough for a wagon to go through to.
Now, what can you tell me about my grandparents?
for your
Is that
grandparents. What can I tell you? It is, it's hard to say, you know.
You were telling me yesterday when we were in Strykow
Yes.
that he tried a little business. He tried to buy to try.
He had, he was a tailor. Afterwards he was a tailor.
But you said he tried to buy a bus or something?
They did buy a bus.
They bought a bus and,
I know
and the
that.
business
That was right after World War One.
after World War One.
Come on, the boss, he bought that just before the war a few years, and that's why.
I recall it, I must have been, but I'll tell you exactly. As a matter of fact, I remember part of there was a bus. Aber jetzt ist gewesen noch de...
Had ze huisgekomen gedaan, een chauffeur of niet?
Ja, chauffeur drove the bus.
Who did?
Avram
brother.
Yitzchak, the oldest.
Avram Yitzchak.
Yeah, he
And that was a bus to go where?
there was from Lodge Strykow Glovno.
Lodge Strykow.
Lodge,
Maybe not Warsaw, you know that the main route down there.
But the business failed.
Failed. The bus went kapui, you know, and it failed.
De start with, her father was a tailor and had a tailor shop.
Would you kindly sit in the camera, please? You're a part of this.
To start with, her father was a tailor and had a tondite. They were making suits and coats, taken out to the market and selling to the farmers. He made a bit of money, so he decided to buy a bus. But the bus sunk the business into bankruptcy.
It didn't work.
Then he
out.
had to work for somebody else as a tailor. They were
But he's-
making cars.
And my grandmother?
The grandmother was a
housewife.
Housewife.
business lady.
Then also, for a few years, they rented
A store.
Suits.
Orchards. They were
Orchard.
renting.
Wat zeg je los? Ze hebben nog een paar jaar in de rood. Wie denkst du, das ist? Also geht jetzt erzählen, ich kann immer dem Schuss bei Ablos sagen, dann immer was sagen lassen.
See, on the testimony, and this is from Ma, she said her mother was a storekeeper
Well, she was a storekeeper.
for the tailor shop.
No.
They had a grocery
They had
store.
a little grocery store.
That's what I'm asking you about.
That
What-
was
what
that
is on the
was
floor there?
really she didn't run it. Her aunt ran it. Her Schmendel's vrouw.
That is not on.
It is on,
Oh,
of course.
I
You've
didn't
been.
know.
I've got the whole thing is being recorded. Everything we're saying and doing is being recorded.
Her Schmendel's vrouw, sie hat gemacht, sie had the storage. Store. A small little store right in the front.
And Dad, I'm cutting half of you off where you're sitting there. You need to move it. Yeah, there.
Edit
Thank you.
that.
How much more?
You see
Thank
that
you,
little
thank
store, it's not like you fit to get a store.
Yeah. It says a store. It's
Yeah.
more store name than the store.
Than the store.
They needed something that they run to each island and buy
Yeah.
a bag of salt or a bag of sugar.
And then resell it
Sure.
and make a few zlotnies,
A few
Few
groschen.
pennies.
A few groschen.
a few groschen.
Yeah, groschen. Polish is groschen.
Yeah.
Nice pennies.
That's the sub-denomination of a zloty.
Yeah. 100 groschen is a zloty.
So 100 groschen to the slaughter.
And anything else, I don't
In
know.
the value, you can figure the value exactly. Sometimes the people need about 2 zlotys a day.
All depends.
And Ma's oldest brother,
He was
he was in the military.
he was in the military. He was helping to sew.
He was also a tailor.
Sure,
But when they bought the bus, he was so much on the bus that he learned to drive the bus. He was
he was a
chauffeur.
chauffeur. He was,
During the war, after he was freed from the Polish army, the Germans took him to drive around officers. But he still disappeared, who knows where. Did they kill him or they went to a camp, who knows?
As a matter of fact, I don't even know. I don't think so. He did go to Russia or something.
No, he was working for the Gestapo, so
This I don't even.
Shady, sir.
This,
The Gestapo hired him to drive
To
for them
drive for
because he
them.
knew the countryside.
he knew the countryside and he was a driver.
So that kept him alive for a
They
little
kept him
while.
alive for a little while.
For a
but
little
that's
while.
it. Then Who knows what happened to him?
Also, what else can I recall? That's about it, you know, it's what is there to say? It's not much to say, you know, it's after they lost the business from the boss, it went downhill
All the way through, that's what I said, it sunk the business.
it went downhill
All the way.
all the way, very bad,
That's what I said, he had to work for somebody else, so far,
very bad,
for somebody else, for a governor.
I know it.
Yeah, and you said when my mother's sister had to get married, they didn't have money.
That's right, and the wedding had to go fast because the other parents were against it. Because
And this was Hannah's wedding?
Yeah, yeah.
This was
Anders
Hannah's
was-
wedding.
because there was this Canadian.
And Nate, your father went to the mill in town.
He got some money for the.
He promised them the wheat that was in his field.
Well, he promised them the wheat because that's from the mill down there.
Yeah.
That's what he got.
And the mill gave him an advance.
My father got the advance, or just for this or a loan because we always had work for them.
Right, because you had
It
to
was-
fix the roof on
If
the
my
mill. all
father
the time.
wanted to have a loan, it wasn't hard to get. He knew the right people to go get
Money from.
the money from.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't so easy to get money in Strykow.
There wasn't a bank you could go and get a
There
loan
was no
from.
bank in Strykow. You can imagine.
Was there maybe a
One telephone for the whole city.
really?
A post office and
The
non-telephone.
post office. There is more. So you can imagine.
Two postmen in one
It-
telephone.
It's not that I want to say something. It was very bad. It's down.
What did I tell you all the time? We were poor, that's all.
As a matter of fact, my oldest brother, I hate to bring it out, my oldest brother was living in Lodge. He was after school, the first year, he started working already. They eventually went down there because he didn't have it either, he was working. It was so hard because it was between neighbors. Sometimes you lent 20 zlotys, that was a lot of money.
Ah,
Even Wolf Kowal, sometimes, if he sometimes they didn't pay him, he had to wait for his money, and he had to go buy material. Come and borrow 20 zlotys.
it was not easy. Okay.
Because for us, for the material, we only went to get the material once every month. My mother went to Lodge. In the meantime, you accumulate a little bit money to go to buy the block, the swallow, and a lot of things.
Okay. Should we talk about? Have we talked about everything you can remember about my mother's family?
You can talk about my family, whatever you want.
You
I'll
saw
tell
it, you
whatever
can
I
tell,
know.
Strykow was what you call it, a 600-year-old
City.
municipality.
Yes.
But
With
it never, in that place down there, in the culture home, they have a list, they could tell you their little history. When it started, how many families, wie viel garbage ist sie gewesen?
Alles Carver.
Es ist ausgeschrieben in the
magistrate's office.
no,
No, but not in
The culture-
Oh, in the culture hall.
Well,
In the
you-
culture
You'll
hall.
stop
had it.
on the way back from Lodge. Maybe you'll
as a
record
matter of
that.
fact, I have home a list about the Strykow history. She figure in the book that she tells you how many Gentile butchers were, how many Jewish
Butchers.
butchers were.
There were 5,000 people,
Was about 5,000 people.
and 2,500 were Jewish.
But half and half was half
Roughly.
Jewish.
And how many shuls?
One shul in a besmedrash.
And
Stiebel.
what do you mean, Jewish synagogues,
Yeah.
you mean? Okay, I can tell you, it was more.
The Stiebler.
Jacqueline Schien is ook geweest, de Jacqueline, de weiß ich wie sie,
Ja,
but it was a bissel größer wie a Stiebel.
Alles is geweest, is een place geweest Stiebelig. Zie hem.
And a stiebel is
They got together, 20 people, 15 people.
they had a minion.
They had a minion
and
and
they could pray.
De Kinder zenden, de gedenkste Jacqueline was hadden ugetiert zijn gegaan. Brown,
What's on
Not black, brown.
brown.
That's interesting. That's different.
That's what I'm telling you.
They weren't Hasidim.
Dat was gezien.
They were Hasidim.
De Jacqueline,
A different sect of
a
Hasidim.
different sex, a little more brownish,
Mhm.
reddish brownish.
That's
Yeah.
why I'm so mad. And our cemetery was two rabbis buried. And everybody, during the holiday season, everybody was going right at Kvittel and drop in like.
These were famous rabbis from this
rabbis,
sect, from Strykow.
They took the cemetery apart and there's nothing.
Nothing there.
When I was there in '46, there was nothing, but just Yasamurtka was buried. That's all. But now you say there's houses on
Gewoon
it.
is afgebouwd, is afgebouwd.
You said it's a factory.
Huh? Yeah.
A factory was
If you
built.
wanted this time to drive by, you wouldn't even know if it was a fact. It was a.
There's nothing, there was nothing there in
It's
'46.
built up. It's built up. It's nothing there. It's people living there and so on. So on. It's nothing. You want me to
You
tell
want
you?
the family
Do you
to-
want me to tell you something? My father. How do I know? Because he told me when we went to work sometimes to the farms, you know, something was an hour's walk. So he told me one time a story. Right in World War I, somebody called them during the middle of the night. They had a still. He had to fix the
He had to come and solder the pipes.
to solder the still. And it was during the night.
Explain to the camera why your father could solder. What was his craft?
Tinsmith, sheet metal.
Sheet metal, that's why.
And roofing.
Roofing, and gather spouts, cans for the milk, for the
Everything.
everything. Anyway, every time I think about it, I laugh. They called him at night, and while they were there, he had a couple of drinks. On the way home, he had to go by the Jewish cemetery. And the grass at that time was very high. And you know, it used to be thought that you shouldn't go near cemeteries at night because
To this day,
no, because the Sheldon.
Shining.
How do you say it in English?
The devils.
ghosts.
The ghosts. And while he was walking, he hears something in the grass. And the guy was there. He was more afraid than my father. He grabbed him, and he was stealing coal from. That was by the barn.
Yeah.
So what he heard was the guy who was stealing the
That's
coal.
what the guy was the coal down there. Somebody would die out of
Just for scared.
for scare. He could have got a heart attack to be scared.
Put that down. You're done with
So,
it.
You want
how do I know? Because that's the way my father explained it to me. Oh yes, it was certain things.
Okay, so we were talking about Strykow, and there were 2,500 Jews and 2,500 Gentiles, roughly.
we don't
And
know
there was a shul, there was a mikveh.
There was
There was a medrash.
What is a besmedrich?
Aber es ist das nicht als was Schieds. Es ist
I tell you what it is. A besmedrish, everybody can go in. A shield, you inherited a seat.
yeah, that's true. You see,
You
you
see,
inherited.
you inherited a seat.
See, besmetrisch.
As a matter of fact, my father, we had two. One we inherited from my grandfather. And the other one was my father had a seat in Besmedrish. Most of the time he was davening in Besmedrish as sowieso. He felt better in the Besmedrish than in the shield.
Shield had a cantor and a choir.
A choir, a
And they had
cantor.
upstairs women.
It's a women for the women shul too.
And the besmetrisch
In
is just
Besmedrish
downstairs like this.
they had a choir too. The shul had a choir.
Yeah, just a line, but not. the Besmedrash was just about as big as this shul that you saw yesterday. This is the Besmedrash.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
was no upstairs, just one floor
One floor.
downstairs.
And the women were welcome to mix with the
No,
men.
no,
And
no.
men only.
No,
No,
the
women.
only from men.
Only men. That's why we had the shul. The shul
The
was
shield was
women.
gewesen, it was open.
That's why the shul was for women. In the Besmedrash, just men.
Yes.
Any stiebel or any mizruchi or anything, whatever they had, was just men.
Okay. And what other elements
That
of
was
Jewish
not-
life were there in Strykow?
Jewish life. Okay.
An organization, the
Dat was
Gordonia, the
Gordonia, Shemaradati, Betar.
Beitar.
Okay, I don't know what any of those
All
things
the
are.
Zionists to the left and to the right.
Zionist groups.
In the Shemaradati is gewesen, is Mizrucha gewesen. That was the head, don't you know?
It was a communist party.
That's the Gordonia gewesen.
No, no, the communist party in the Strykow
Dat is
Gordonia.
gewesen dort von der gemachte Padanjes, gewesen ein Kommunist.
But daarin is geweest in de Gordonia, hij was communist.
A communist. No,
My brother was a communist.
But really, I tell you something. The Gordonia
Uncle Moshe belonged to the
Uncle Moshe was belonged to the
he wasn't-
Communist Party.
belonged to the communist party.
I won't think any less of him because
And
you
my
told me.
brother, and listen,
But he gave up. But
and my brother, he was the Betar. He was a big macher in
I belonged to the Beitar too because Simcha belonged to it and all the Chabra.
And what was the Betar?
the Betar is the Likud.
That was in Yistische, the Likud.
The Likud. Jabotinsky.
Jabotinsky, okay.
Wearing uniforms.
Yes. And as a matter of fact, since I told you that when my brother went to the army, he was at Podchorążew, waar we geweest in de Polske Schule wojskowe. So he was 17 years old. He already went for 4 weeks every year for maneuvers.
Just like the Boy Scouts here, I guess.
And everybody tried to say, how can you send a boy to the military? And he teach terug gewesen, hinter Beitare gewesen, noch eine, mit der Uniform sind sie gegangen. Wie haben sie
So
geheißen?
that was in Yistische, just
Yeah,
like the
but-
Beitar.
No, die andere sind noch gewesen. Er hat
In Sissaka, wie die guys in
Makkeve.
Nakkever, yeah, they were Nakkever.
Maar je denkt dat ik gemaakt Schier had de Prinzesbaan. Je denkt and my brother teach them because he came home on a weekend with the rifles. And he took him at the Ginnikes gewezen the shooting.
That's machine guns.
At the Ginnikes.
On the Bajin Road,
Down the rifle you
near your house.
No. That's where we went there to my friend down there
Uh-huh,
with the dogs.
okay.
About 5 houses farther up.
A little more than 5 houses. But it's, there
Well,
was built a big hill.
That was a soccer field, and right next to it there was a shooting.
Garland.
Shooting range.
A shooting.
They-
That's right.
The soldiers went to learn to
To
shoot.
learn to shoot. That's right.
Was there, politically, was there
Politically-
Jewish politicians? Did they have, like in the municipality, could a Jew hold a
No, there was
position?
no Jew. The only time they came to the Jews is when you had to go when they needed at the elections. That's when they needed them.
To vote for them?
After the election, they didn't want to hear of you.
And it was not legal for a Jew to hold elected
Well,
office?
that was not legal.
He never had a chance.
Chance to
Nobody did
Would vote for
go
it.
unless you were so high up that they couldn't help it.
Is it safe to say that they were more interested in
To make a living.
and to be a part of the Jewish community than to be a part of the
It
political?
was a Jewish
It
community.
was a Jewish community. That was a Jewish community.
Your grandfather was a dozer in the
Yes, your
Jewish community.
grandfather were a dozen.
My mother's father?
Yeah, your
Yeah, a
mother's
dozen.
father.
A dozen would be something like a little bit older man.
Like an alderman, yeah.
Like an
But in
alderman.
the Jewish community, it
So
didn't.
to say certain things.
Were there like village elders, people who were very other than the rabbis, who were respected for being?
No. if you had something to say, if there was some friction, then you went to the
The
rabbi
rabbi.
and he had
He straightened it out.
He mediated.
He was the mediator. You
Only-
told your story, he told
only the
his
rabbi.
story.
Yep.
And our rabbi is gewesen a big,
Yeah, the rabbi.
a learned man, the Rev.
Yep, yep.
A learned man. And he got paid not by from the congregation, he got paid by the government, from the government,
But from the Polish government.
from the Polish government.
Not much.
But he got us whatever
When
the
they-
salary went
when
at
we-
that time.
It's a big change though.
I-
When we got a new rabbi, and the 3rd of May, was a big holiday in Poland.
Yes.
So the schools and everybody went on a parade. So the rabbi had a
A
speech.
A speech.
Niech żyje rabbi, nie trzeba.
Which means
No,
Met
that was
dat is
usually the
Niech
Jewish.
żyje rabbi,
You see,
dan was de rabbi leden.
oh,
Nie trzeba tego
no, I have to explain you what it is. When it was 3rd of May, was the Constitution.
Poland,
Polish Constitution Day. So since it was about 50% Jewish, so the Jewish people didn't go to church, they did go to the parade, to the synagogue. And there was always about 3-4 teachers.
But the kids went
They-
too, they took the kids too for parade.
Sure, but
The
that's
school
what,
kid, the school
that's the
kid.
school, that's what I'm talking about, the school kids. I was one of. We went in the Shiderana to give the speech, in fact. Yeah. And what can you say? It was. Yeah.
That's it. You want to talk about my father?
well, we're almost out of tape, and just want to
What
get a
else-
little
what
bit
else-
more about the
what
Jewish
else can you
community, and
recall?
then
If you start bringing it out, I can recall practically everything down there. They even had a shank,
Oh yeah, they had a restaurant.
a restaurant in a bar.
In a bar.
kosher.
Yeah, well, of course. At that time, everything was kosher.
Who is the mashgiach?
They
There
didn't
was
need
no
a
mashgiach.
mashgiach then.
No mashgiach.
No mashgiach.
Why?
Because,
Yet
everything,
another
because
mashgiach.
everything was kosher. Because you never saw anybody not to have a kosher
House
Oh.
or slaughterhouse?
Everything was slaughtered.
All came through.
Everything went through. There's no such thing. There was dishes. The poorest people had 2 sets
It
of
had
dishes.
3. For
Pesach.
Three. For
For
milchig,
dairy,
fleisch chicken,
meat,
for
and Pesach.
Yontif.
But wouldn't they need 2 sets for Yontif?
No,
Or for Milchtiks and
No, they
Fleischiks?
didn't use
They
milk.
use it, milchig.
At Pesach you didn't have
Use
Milchtiks.
milk.
50 years ago? You kidding? 55 years ago?
You didn't use milchig.
So going back now, 2,500 Jews in 1939, and to the best of everybody's knowledge,
Knowledge,
maybe
but I know
maybe
maybe
50 survived.
50
Maybe, to the best of us.
And
About-
today-
About 50.
And today in 1996, how many are left?
How many are left? Well, I've had passed out, I can tell you, maybe 20, 25.
No, wait a minute. Let's start counting them. How many is in Paris?
Okay, I tell you. In Paris is nog toe strikken, dat is een zeugen. Ik ben er echt, Marcus en toen hij zei Paulo.
Polen in
Avram Fischl,
is je dra,
Abram is er, okay. Meyer,
is 4.
weiß wer noch Meyer hat? Abbas cousin.
Courier.
Vind wat geschoilen,
Courier,
Courier het zijn
Philip.
vinden. Zijn brieden leefje, dat hebben geweest in Brussel. Dat is geweest in Brussel, zijn.
weiß
Dat is eigenlijk geweest.
Shia-
Weiß is alleen nog
Shia Batschen leeft daar.
Shia Batschen.
Leeft
Niet
daar.
de andere, dus was Shia geweest. That's what the one it was.
Zie je niet geen Courier spreken? Zie je
Shia.
Ja, zie je Courier spreken, ja. Hij leeft nog?
Ich hab gesehen in einem Ort in Paris.
Oké. Ze leeft nog Westen.
Weiß ich nicht. Weiß ich nicht.
Hoeveel leeft in Australië?
Australië,
Azik, Vigde, Janik, wie nog?
Lipschitz nog dort du so.
Ja, wat ze leeft nog, wie
Weiß
weiß.
ich nicht.
Is dat? Was dat? Nou, laat me ze rachen, ze leeft nog. Oké, is nou.
No, okay.
Jens en Yisroel
in Israel.
is de
Moshe?
Moshe saying,
Um,
Berber, van de Ragene Berber.
No, Berber is dead.
Berber is dead.
Berber is dead.
Say, no, hij is de
Oh ja, nog een doen, mede aan vrouwen doen.
Ghana.
Ghana is in Toronto.
No. Ghana, deze Ghana, de Ghana style.
Ghana staat in
Ghana.
Toronto.
No, de met de had gemaakt, verpeestig, cakes met kiegelen, met alle. Ja, ze doen.
Is de Moshe had de lakken dat toe.
Mooi ouderlijke toe in het slot. Ja,
Abride van Berlo.
de kleine, ja, was er dus, was dat meebel te verkopen in Israël.
Oh, Koenelo. No, Koenelo is niet zo. Ja.
Who was in the picture with Uncle Moshe at the monument? Have you counted all of those? Okay.
Daar is het in
In nacht in school is doen met de geest van Judenraad, Bloestein. Aanwedelen doen van Bloestein.
aan Edelwijs aan.
Yes.
Is het zijn. Is je 15, ja? 15.
15.
No, that's 10.
No,
No, that's right. That's
Het is
15.
15.
Gannestaal,
Het zegt,
in de Itjestaal,
het is 17.
Miriam Nabride is naast, die is 20.
Ma's 21.
21.
Beryl?
Beel is 22.
22. Like I said, maybe a few we didn't
We
get
missed
it.
out, we missed.
So at the most-
25, 30 people.
At the most, 25, 30 still alive.
Still alive. I just
Something.
Jaki, leek naar Schleifsbride, Jaki.
Hier leeft nog in Engeland.
And everybody,
In New York.
He is in
New
Florida.
York. New York.
Florida, so.
and everybody who lived married,
Yeah.
Yes,
and they all had children?
they all had children. Jaki, yeah, Schleifer got children.
I think so. Yeah, 2 daughters. Yeah, I said 2 daughters.
Okay, more or less, and the funniest part of it is, everybody knew everybody.
And everybody has more or less kept in touch
Yeah, well,
over the
before-
decades.
To the decades before, but if you didn't hear it somehow, you know, she is there, hij is Michal's vrouw.
Ja, hij moet zo eens geraken.
Dragen, zei ze, ik ga dus ook tussen dragen. Have she nog a few, maybe a few more,
But that's all.
but 35.
But even let's say 50 survive. From the 50, now there's 150, 200, and grandchildren, and
Yes.
now it grows again.
Yes, sir.
No, it grows again.
That's
That's
right.
right.
Great-grandchildren now too.
There are great
sure
grandchildren
they
in many
In
places.
Israel, there are great-grandchildren.
Yeah,
Sure.
sure. Well, my uncle, my brother has great,
That's what I said in Israel.
has,
That's right.
The people we saw in Israel have
no,
great-grandchildren
they
now.
have, my just grandchildren.
Sure. Who else? Let me come at you.
That's right. Moshe doesn't have great grandchildren.
Not yet.
No, but these friends that we went to visit, that were in Strykow,
But
they have great-grandchildren.
no, Beryl doesn't have great grandchildren yet.
No, only grandchildren.
Only
Where
grandchildren.
we were now, Tom. They have
In
great-grandchildren.
Yisroel, might have, but he
Oh,
was
yeah.
great.
Oh, yeah.
grandchildren.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Well, they married early, that's
Showed us
why.
a picture of the twins.
Oh, yes.
The great-grandchildren.
This is him. Michal, vrouw, yeah.
So from the ashes, from the dust, it
It's
grows
still
again.
It
The
grows again.
dividends,
The dividend grows.
that's
yeah.
right.
That's right. And it's a funny thing.
The investment turned
Even
out
my,
for the dividends.
even my daughter, Karen,
Karen.
and Betty, wants to go. Just to show them, just enough to know. But the funniest part of it is, you can see it. This is a point. The window was. The black, the window. You could see the
Where I took the pictures yesterday of the
Yeah,
where the
yeah.
wall in
Where
the
the
ghetto
wa-
was.
where the blacked up the windows and different type of bricks.
Yes,
You could see what it was. That was our window.
that was the way you survived, was to get food through that window.
That's right.
Okay, I need to change the tape.